if I ever draw Muxus, I am going to go for it. I did not come here not to go for it. That is a series of fortunate top decks. Oh my god. Probably shouldn't sacrifice the Muxus because I don't want to be legend rolling it. And, hey, there we go. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Omri and today the deck I'm going to be playing is Mono Red Goblins in Historic. This is Autumn Burchett's list that they used to win, or at least get second in the most recent Mythic something. I don't even know what they're called at this point, and it's very strong. So the goal of this deck is twofold. First, it wants to get Muxus into play, and second, it has a backup plan of just beating down with Goblin Chieftain and Krenko Goblins and just playing a couple of 2/2s into hasty 2/2s and just winning the game that way. So the most important card of the deck, Muxus Goblin Grandee, for those of you that are already not aware and haven't played against this card a million times, a lot of the times when Muxus hits the board, it will just win the game on the spot, hitting like a Krenko and a Chieftain and like one other Goblin, and that's already practically lethal. And Muxus can just make some insane turns. It's really explosive, and it's certainly worth like sacrificing our whole board with Skirk Prospector on turn 3. Like that is just a play you make, and a lot of the times it'll pay off. Speaking of Skirk Prospector, this deck doesn't need to ramp towards Muxus, so it's got Skirk Prospector, Mind Stone, Wily Goblin, Herald's Horn, Goblin War Chief, and Phyrexian Tower that all ramp towards Muxus, as getting up to enough mana to cast Muxus is very important for this deck. Skirk Prospector is one of the best ways to ramp in this deck, and certainly one of the most explosive, as you can sacrifice a couple of tokens on turn 3 and just slam a really fast Muxus. It's the only way to get a Muxus out on turn 3, or maybe one of the only ways. Maybe like subsequence with Wily Goblins and Phyrexian Towers. And past that, in the 2-mana slot, we've got 4 Wily Goblins and 2 Mind Stones to ramp. Wily Goblin makes a treasure, so it isn't permanent ramp, similar to Skirk Prospector. But something like turn 1 Skirk Prospector to turn 2 Wily Goblin means you can sacrifice both these and the treasure and your 3 lands to cast Muxus on turn 3. And Wily Goblin just gives this deck a little bit more mana while just being solid. Like, it's at worst a 1-mana 1/1 Goblin because you get the mana back with the token, but could be much better, and 2 Mind Stone just for a little bit of extra ramping. This is pretty controversial actually, because Autumn was playing it in their list, but a lot of other lists weren't running Mind Stone. I'm trying it out. I don't know exactly how good it is, but I mean, Autumn's a far better player and deck builder than I am, so I'm just gonna go with it for now. And I mean, it has to be solid, right? The one downside is that there are a lot of double red spells in this deck, but I've played around with Mind Stone. It's been at least decent. So we've also got War Chief, which discounts all our goblins, and Herald's Horn, which also discounts all our goblins, which can lead to some pretty explosive turns, even without Muxus, and they also provide effectively 1 mana towards Muxus. Herald's Horn is also an interesting inclusion. It helps you grind a lot. If you untap with it, you're usually in a pretty good spot, but it's less good against something like the Mirror or against aggro, because it can be pretty slow, and Goblin War Chief is just pretty good. Gives your stuff haste, so it's good with Muxus, and discounts. So Goblin Chieftain is the way this deck wins with Beatdown. It gives +1/+1 to your goblins and haste. It's especially good with Krenko. So is Goblin War Chief, because you can play Krenko with haste. That makes him a lot better than if you play him without haste, and then potentially gets removed before you can attack with him. And Krenko is also one of the more explosive cards in this deck, which can create a massive amount of goblins. He is exceptionally bad against removal without haste, being a 4-drop that needs to untap, but this deck has a lot of ways to enable Krenko, and Krenko also combines really well with Muxus Goblin Grandee. So past that, Goblin Matron finds us goblins, whatever goblin we need, finds us a Muxus most of the time, but can find a Skirk Prospector or a War Chief or a Chieftain or whatever, so flexibility is very important. It also can find some more hate pieces in the sideboard, or removal goblins. Conspicuous Snoop, it's a 4-of, it's just really great, provides you a ton of card advantage, and can sometimes tap if there's a Krenko on top, if there's a Skirk Prospector, it can sacrifice goblins, and it's overall just a great card. Now onto the sideboard for Braid, very important because Grafdigger's Cage does shut off Muxus, and in case you were wondering, yes, it is very important. Grafdigger's Cage is a card that everyone will bring in because this deck is so all in a Muxus, and a Braid is a very good answer to that. Goblin Crater Maker is also a very good answer, and is especially good because it can be tutored up with Goblin Matron. So if you're playing only one, you've effectively already got 5 answers for Grafdigger's Cage. And that's especially good in matchups where you know your opponent has Grafdigger's Cage, but you don't want to bring in Uro, which is only just a shatter. Since Uros deal 3 to target creature, is also especially good in decks where they've got creatures and Grafdigger's Cages. And now on to 2 Gem Palm Incinerators for some extra removal, also going to be tutored up with Goblin Matron, 2 more Herald's Horn for grindy matchups, 1 more Chandra Torch for Defiance, 4 grindy matchups, and the uptick is good with Muxus as well, providing 2 mana. Means we can cast him faster, 2 Goblin Ringleader, more card advantage to be able to grind with, 1 Goblin Trash Master to remove artifacts, and 2 Ironcrag Feet for matchup where we want to slam a fast Muxus. So that's like the mirror against other aggro decks, but definitely not against decks with counter spells and removal and stuff like that. It's like Sultai Midrange or Blue-White Control. Alright, that is the deck. Let us get into some games. Alrighty, welcome to match number 1 against Matoru. And I'll be on the play. And well, this is rough. This hand's got everything I need except land, so I'll have to take a mulligan. And this hand is interesting. I think I'm gonna bottom a mountain, because I think it's between the mountain and the Phyrexian Tower. I think I actually want to bottom the Phyrexian Tower since I already have the Mind Stone. And this deck often does need a lot of red mana, especially with stuff like Goblin War Chief, which reduces your colorless mana but does not reduce your red mana symbols. So I'm going to play Conspicuous Snoop out here, see if I can hit a Krenko. I cannot. But still, if I have something solid on top of my deck, that's just free card advantage. Looks like I'm getting some sort of Teamer. Some sort of 4 colors, so this is probably something like 4 color control if I had to guess. I am going to go ahead and play Chieftain because it's the most mana efficient play, and I can't unfortunately double spell with Mind Stone because it provides colorless mana, and I need double red for all the cards in my hand. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of Wrath here. Whoa, 5 color. Okay, this is the 5 color Niv Mizzet deck, I think. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a very, very good one. I'm going to go ahead and cast Goblin Matron with this Mind Stone to land on top, but unfortunately it's going to get shuffled away, and I'm going to fetch up a Muxus Goblin Grandia. I don't think my opponent's deck has too many answers for it, though unfortunately I will not get to cast it next turn. Okay, well I guess that also answers Muxus. Thought Erasure is especially good because it's multicolored for Niv Mizzet Reborn, which is a 5 mana 6/6 for Wooburg. That's annoying. That fetches up. You look at the top 10 cards of the library, and you can put 1 card from each guild color. So like blue-red, blue-black, black-green, red-white, stuff like that. There we go. Well, I don't actively want to see Niv Mizzet on the board, but I guess I have to stop explaining what it does. And I think my opponent's going to draw like 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it's going to be 5 cards. No, 4 cards. Still pretty bad. Though, if I ever draw a Muxus. Okay, baby, here we go. Be good, be good, be good, be good. Okay, that's pretty good. It's not insane, but I'd say that's pretty good. So, I think I fetch up another Muxus since I only have 1 mana. So I'll just fetch up another Muxus. If this isn't enough to win the game, you know what? I'm gonna go for it. I am going to go for it. I did not come here not to go for it. That is a series of fortunate top decks. Oh my god. I'm gonna hit you for... Probably should sacrifice the Muxus because I don't want to be legend ruling it. And, hey, there we go, there we go, there we go. Okay, so now I pretty much need to decide if I want to just Muxus again. I mean, considering I had lethal, it probably wasn't the best idea in the world. And yeah, that is how you do it. All right, that was very, very good. So sideboarding wise, this is interesting. I think I bring in the one Crater Maker. I think I bring in a Chandra since this is grindy, and probably two Ringleaders and the Herald's Horn as well. I think I can go down one Krenko since they have Deafening Clarion. Probably like a Chieftain. I just trimming back on some stuff here. Probably can go down. Probably only need one Ringleader to tutor up, and I think I don't need that many Chieftains. Actually, I should probably not go down too far on Chieftains. Maybe 3 Herald's Horn is fine. I think they have Angrass Main Page that can kill it, so maybe I don't want too many. Okay, and I guess we'll run it like that. I don't think I want Ironcrag Feet, and I definitely don't want a Braid. So if I see a lot of Grafdigger's Cages, maybe something I can upbraid, then I probably will bring it in game 3 if it comes to that. But we'll see. I just don't want to overboard since this is sort of a combo deck, and the more Braids I have, the less goblins I hit with Muxus, the less goblins I have to cast Muxus. So yeah, this looks like a turn 3 Muxus hand. All it's missing is Muxus, which is pretty relevant. But I do have this Goblin Matron and enough lands. Probably gonna lead on Conspicuous Snoop though, because I want to just start casting things off the top of my deck if I can. Growth Spiral for my opponent, because the card advantages are very important. If you can just start casting cards in your hand and still have a full hand from when your opponent has to start dealing with your things, that's pretty good. And I could also just high roll a Krenko on top, right? No. Okay, well, I mean, it's fine, right? So 3 of in my 51 card deck. Be pretty ambitious to be disappointed if I didn't hit it. Ooh, Uro. So my opponent is not going to deal with my board yet. No red mana. Green and white's on one land. Okay, so my opponent's missing everything. They've got everything but red. Let's hope that stays that way, because I think Clarion is their sweeper of choice. It's going to be a Breeding Pool tapped. Alright. I think I'm just gonna Shadow Skull Smasher and Goblin Matron. Tutor up Muxus. Could use a land or a Krenko on top. That is neither. But I mean, Herald's Horn is still pretty good. If I decide that I don't want to go all in on Muxus next turn, I can just cast a Herald's Horn, go from there. Yeah, that actually is a pretty big roadblock for casting a 6-drop in your opponent. Okay, that is annoying. But that's not terrible. I get to resolve this Herald's Horn. Hopefully I hit a land next turn, and then I can just play a bunch of creatures in one turn, since everything is cheaper now. It's gonna be a Thought Erasure. That's fine. Guess it takes a Matron? No, it takes a Krenko. Interesting. Not sure if I agree with that. And also this means that my opponent's Uro cannot escape, which is quite relevant, as if they really wanted, they could have 6 cards in the graveyard right now. Perfect, as in like sort of not perfect, because I also do want to hit a goblin, but I'm also fine with not hitting a goblin. And I think I'll play a Wily Goblin, because if I reveal to them that I'm getting Crater Maker, they might like keep an answer on top or something like that. Ooh. This is interesting. So I could just castle and cast Chandra next turn, which is what I'm gonna do. I think I want to play it a little bit safe here, because I think I can win the game as long as my opponent's Uros are being cast. I think my opponent's short on red mana, so I'm just gonna go ahead and play a Chandra. Go ahead and tick up to get rid of that land. It's another land on top. Alright, well now I think I'll Matron. Question is, what do I get? It's probably a Crater Maker. Has to be right. That's just a massive threat for my opponent. Ooh, that's a land on top. Perfect. As in, like, sort of not perfect, but I don't like hitting land drops in this matchup. Next turn I can tick up for mana with Chandra, and then play Crater Maker. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Mana with Chandra. Cast Crater Maker. Hold full control, and this is gonna be a pretty spicy one. I get to cast Muxus Goblin Grandee. If it resolves, then I will, in response to the trigger, destroy the Grafdigger's Cage. But if my opponent had a counterspell, I definitely don't want to be destroying the Grafdigger's Cage and just letting them play their Uro and stuff. And oh, game. Oh, very nice. Hey, there we go. Okay, well that was very successful match 1, and I will be right back for match number 2. Welcome to match number 2 against K Money Records. Sounds like the name of a rap song. What is this hand? I think it's gonna be a mulligan. It's just so slow. If my opponent's an aggro, I'll lose the game. Now this is a good hand. I think I bought him a Shadow Skull Smashing because I don't want to appear. I think playing Shadow Skull Smashing tapped on turn was sort of a sign of weakness. It lead my opponent to believe that I'm short on lands, and I could potentially be short on lands. Besides, it gives my opponent a lot of information on what I'm on. More decks play mountains than play exactly Shadow Skull Smashing. I am lagging. It's unfortunate, but hopefully my arena cooperates. There we go. And just pass the turnover. It seems like my opponent has a fail push, so that's something I need to be keeping in mind. And they're Dimir. This could be Dimir Fairies or Dimir Control. If this is Dimir Control, then I'm a little bit worried, as this matchup tends to be pretty bad. Wraths and counterspells match up pretty well against lots of creatures and big, expensive all-in creatures that demand answers. Probably going to be something like a Jwari Disruption on my Krenko, unfortunately, but I need to start Syncopate. Okay, so it's interesting. It's not a card I see around very often. Syncopate, really the last time that card was good when was in Standard and Mono Blue Tempo, back when that was a thing. Ooh, so I have a bunch of mana, so I don't think I'm gonna get got by Syncopate on this Muxus, hopefully. Go ahead and play a Skirk Prospector as well. And just go and attack in with this Singleton Wily Goblin. Okay. So I'll make mana now. There's really no reason not to, and this is not an open deck list, so I don't know, my opponent could think I have like a Braid or something. If I draw land, I can cast Muxus. My opponent's doing something main phase that is interesting. They could also be Sultai, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're just Dimir with his Zagoth trying to cycle. Though the Dimir Bicycle land, the Fetid Pools, is legal and historic, so I don't know. It doesn't look like my opponent very well might be a budget deck, though. They've got Syncopate, they let my Muxus evolve, which is a pretty bad value proposition most of the time. Yup. Okay, well, Muxus resolving is good for me. The fact that it was not a good Muxus and my opponent had an Eliminate to avoid taking like 15 extra damage, or like 10 extra damage to be exact, is annoying, but if I get to start doing Goblin Matron things and put a bunch of pressure on my opponent, just snoop a bit maybe, snoop around, yeah. Ooh, Cycle Hieroglyphic Illuminations. Got there. That's good for me as long as my opponent's dirtling and not answering my things. That happens. All right. Well, that's pretty good. I guess I'll start bringing in my anti-control cards and taking out my not anti-control cards. Thinking I can own all 4 Wily Goblins of Muxus. Muxus, go down, Muxus. Really like shave a lot of the goblins. I could go down like a Skirk Prospector and a Phyrexian Tower. Also, it's just a bit too all in for my taste. Because the problem is my opponent most likely has a bunch of counter spells. So trying to sacrifice your whole board and play an early Muxus is really bad if you just get like countered and all of a sudden you're left with nothing. It's much better to, you know, like play a Herald's Horn on turn 3. On turn 4 you like play a couple creatures, they have to answer them. On turn 5, you do it again. You're constantly getting guard advantage. You've got this, you're on the front foot because you're the one presenting threats that your opponent needs to be answered. And if you manage to get down a cheap card advantage engine like a Snoop or like a Horn, then you're pretty advantaged in the matchup. So that's really my game plan. That opponent's taking a while to sideboard. Okay, game number 2, and I think I'm going to be keeping this hand. It's got Snoop on turn 2, it's got Herald Horn on turn 3, which are the exact 2 cards I was just praising to no end. Do need a 3rd land, but Conspicuous Snoop sort of helps with that, and I'm on the draw, so I think it's fine. I could very well get punished, but I think it still stands that this decision is the correct one. There's a Skirk on turn 1. Fortunately, Skirk is not as good in this matchup as it is in some other matchups where I'd just be absolutely elated to have drawn and played it on turn 1. But it could just eat like an eliminate, and that would be nice. Okay, opponent's just gonna pass the turnover. Ooh, interesting. I'm just gonna play a Mind Stone. I'm fine if it gets countered, and I'm happy if it resolves. Like, I do need the extra mana, so it's good to get on the board. And trying to like wait and hold it just makes it so much worse. So I think it's definitely better than jamming Conspicuous Snoop. Also considering I'm really totally fine with my opponent removing Skirk Prospector, as it's not very important to my game plan. I'm a little bit less fine with them removing Snoop because playing Snoop on like turn 6 is a very strong play. I'm gonna Thought Seize me. Interesting to see what they take. Could be the Herald's Horn, could be the Muxus, though I don't think taking Muxus is correct here. But it depends on their hand, of course. They took the Ringleader, interesting. I would think that they would have taken Herald's Horn. It seems like the most powerful card, I guess. Maybe they're planning to counter it. I can pay for Syncopate / Jawari Disruption / Censor. So, but if they very well could have a just hard counter, like a Negate or something. Either Ghost doesn't work, though. I've probably done that post-combat. If I have to sack my Skirk, I've missed out on 1 damage. Yep. Well, hopefully I don't get too punished for a singleton point of damage. And now I'm pretty likely to just start hitting lands. Because if I hit a land on top, it goes to my hand. If I hit a Goblin on top, it goes to my hand. I get another look at the land. Grafdigger's Cage, but I'm not super worried since I do the Abrade, since I'm just doing some value shenanigans. So I think that is fine. I'm gonna go ahead and cast Conspicuous Snoop, see if I can hit something off the top. I can't cast it, but I guess I thought that counts, right? If it was a Krenko, that would be good. I'll just pass the turnover, probably Abrade on end step. Let's see what my opponent does. Just want to be spending my mana and all that. Also, good news is I get to draw Skirk Prospector with Herald's Horn next turn for free. So opponents taking a while to think about this. They probably have some sort of counter. I also saw them hover over Conspicuous Snoop. Conspicuously. Okay, go ahead and sack that for a red mana. Because why not? Just to show that I can. And let's see, no answer to Grafdigger's Cage. Well, that is delightful. Fortunately, my Snoop is dead. Poor Snoop. I mean, I can cast Muxus, so I think it's just the right thing to do. It's the most mana efficient for sure. Aethergust is an absolute joke against Herald's Horn. I'm just gonna get to draw it next turn, like. Yikes. Nice unsummon, bro. Oh man. Yeah, Aethergust's usually good. Definitely should have thought to use this Herald's Horn, I think. My opponent. Now I'm talking like Yoda. Should have thought seized my. Nope, that's not Yoda's accent. Should have thought seized my. Oh, that's rude. Okay, should have thought seized my Muxus. You should. Nope, no, that's not how you do it. Okay, I'm just gonna stop trying because I'm embarrassing myself. That's a land on top, which is sort of good, sort of bad. Not gonna attack. Shark Typhoon is something I'm worried about. And both my creatures are high value. Don't want to be losing them. Plus, my opponent most likely has a removal spell if they don't have a Shark Typhoon. Or a Xerath Sand. Huh? They're playing Grafdigger's Cage and Xerath Sand in the same deck, which is already very bold. But they're also playing Xerath Sand and Dimir control with no creatures. Huh. Interesting. And yeah, I definitely don't want to let my opponent... Wait, what? Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That works. Oh, you're kidding me. I mean, first off, that was an absolutely terrible play because if I had Crank on top, I would just absolutely punish them. Just delivered the punish. But I guess I'll just do this, right? I mean, if my opponent removes my Skirk, what's the worst that happens? They get a Muxus from my graveyard, nice 4/4. Yep, gonna do this. I'm gonna stop in there instead. Probably gonna Braid Muxus, or rather Xerath Sand. Probably at least gonna draw out a counter, right? And plus, it is a threat. If they have a counterspell for Muxus and they get to hit me with Xerath Sand, that's pretty bad for me. Even if all they're getting is an oversized beater. And I just get to draw a Muxus for free. This Herald's Horn, by the way, just absolutely carrying me on its shoulders. And... that is... wow. Okay, that sucks. That very much sucks. That's actually quite bad for me. Because that means I can't be casting any more Muxuses. Muxusai. Muxusa. And, I mean, considering it's like one of the best cards in my deck, the fact that I can't cast it is pretty brutal. Because I'll have to rely on Kranko as my win condition. Oh, stop! Honestly, just the nerve. The cheek of it. Let's see what my opponent does here. Nothing. Classic. Just a land. I think I'm just gonna go to combat, do a little bit of attacking. Chaos Alambreth. Binge. And I'll go ahead and crack this Mind Stone at my end step. Because my opponent could disallow, in which case I'd rather they do it main phase. Which might be a little bit aggressive, to be honest. But also because I don't think I'm casting anything else this turn. Ooh, Chandra. Interesting. Yep. Just a mountain. Well, this is sort of good, right? I'm gonna play the mountain to play around Syncopate better. Ooh. Resolves. That's very good for me. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a removal spell for Chandra. How bad is a second Xerath for me? They didn't have it last turn. They already played one. They can't possibly have too many. I'm not giving up 2 damage to play around the Xerath. Not in this economy. Downright rude. Just disappointing behavior. Honestly, Dimir control players just think they own the world or something. I mean, apparently it's Dimir cycling all of a sudden. About to get to hit. I'm about to get hit by this Zenith Flare out of nowhere. And this is why we can't have nice things. At least I get to draw a card and another card. That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that was pretty good. Put my opponent to 1 life. If I had not played around that Shark Typhoon, or if I had attacked with that Krenko. No, that Skirk Prospector. I might actually get punished for the 1 damage. What? Okay, I guess I have 4 Goblin Chieftains. Settle the wreckage, anyone? Because I'm not playing around it. Come on. Concede button. Top right, you know? That's where it is. Hey, there we go. That's match number 2. And I guess we'll come back for match number 3 in just a second. Alrighty, welcome to match number 3. And this can be a keep. Not an especially impressive hand, but not one I can send back either. Now the big decision here is whether I want to play a Wily Goblin or Mind Stone on turn 2. And it's actually not as clear cut as you might think. If I play Mind Stone, next turn I will be able to play War Chief. No, I'll only be able to single spell anyway, but I think Resolving Mind Stone is actually better, right? I'm not super worried about the couple extra damage I'm gonna get. Oh, it's Dimir Control, not Sultai. And they're missing land drops. Okay. Well, that is certainly not a good sign for them. I'm just gonna run out Krenko because it's the most mana efficient thing. I think Arena disagrees. You can get removed, but whatever I was gonna play was gonna get removed. Krenko was most likely not going to do very much. Nope, it is in fact Sultai, just with Torrential Gearhulk, I guess. You know, I mean, it's up to my opponent if they want to do stuff like that. Like, some people put ketchup in their cereal, others put Torrential Gearhulk and Sultai. It's really just a matter of opinion, you know? And I'm definitely not playing around a Shark Typhoon to block my Matron, because I'd be fine with a Shark Typhoon blocking my Matron. I mean, right? Keeps the card on top, so it's most likely a land. Yup. No counterspell. Come on, come on. If my opponent plays a blue land and Aether Gusts me, I will be angry. I am not angry. Okay, come on. Moxes? Mox. Moxes? Hey, Muxus! Is that lethal? No, not quite. It's fine. If my opponent sweeps me here, I'll just be able to untap and kill them. Hey, that was very good. Oh, yeah. Moxus, Moxus, Moxus. Still haven't hit a Krenko. I just stormed off with, what's its face, but I'll take what I can get, you know? Certainly not Arena Auto Tapper is just honestly got a mind of its own. If my opponent had a Fatal Push there, actually, well, no. But if they had like, yeah, no, if they had a Fatal Push there, I would have potentially lost that game because of Auto Tapper, but it's fine. It's not like it's tapping me out of double red while I'm trying to cast a double red spell or something. That would be ridiculous, right? I can go down to Krenko, I can go down to Muxus, I can go down to Chieftain, go down a couple Wily Goblins, Creator Maker, and we're like that. I guess I'll be keeping this one. Just get to start casting Muxus on turn 5 and never look back. Okay, you're a little bit late to the party, aren't you? Don't mind him, he's a little bit awkward, you know. A shy one, but we'll get him out. Get him out. Took me a Thoughtseize. Well, unfortunately for my opponent, I have 2 Muxai. And don't even come at me saying like Muxuses or something ridiculous like that. Cactuses is cacti, so Muxus is Muxai. That there's just no argument. Like, don't even try. Well, opponent, are we playing land or not? We are. Huh. I'm tempted to. I am very tempted. I didn't come here not to, you know? Like, some of the time I just get Extinction Evented and, like, have a fit, but... I mean, sometimes I want to tap with Krenka, you know? Or sometimes you'll just get removed by a spot removal spell, and it's fine, because my opponent spent the entire turn dealing with my 4-drop that I spent 4 mana on, including a treasure. Which is not great, but, nope, that's 4 mana. Okay, incoming Languish. Wonderful. It's not terrible, right? I get to play a Skirk Prospector, and hopefully, like, another Goblin, and I can start casting Muxuses. And they get, like, totally blown out by a... Ooh... Well, that's certainly not a good play for my opponent. Goblin, I think. Like, I could name Pirate, but I also want to win the game, so. Pass the turnover, I can cast Muxus. My opponent knows about Muxus, so now they have to keep mana up for Muxus, and I don't cast Muxus, and it's basically game, right? Take action. Or I could just cast Muxus. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna actually cast Muxus. I think it's better. It's the higher upside play. It's sabotaged. Okay, I guess my opponent really wants to enable that Uro. It's still a little bit weird. My opponent's playing with a lot of cards I don't generally see in Sultai. They're all like somewhere between 65th and 120th cards. This being the 120th card that you never play in your deck, and this commit being like a card that sees play in blue-white control, but not in Sultai, because Sultai already has enough good cards, you know? It'd be pretty embarrassing if the good cards deck did not have any good cards to fill out 60 cards. Oh my god, that is a Torrential Gearhulk. Ah. I will not lose this match to a Torrential Gearhulk. Like, that's just not gonna happen. Or it might happen, but you will never see the footage. That will be deleted. Deleted. That's not out of Sultai. Like, Dimir Control, Torrential Gearhulk, fine. They want to play like Sublime Epiphany and copy it a bunch of times, fair play, but no, just not in Sultai. That is just excessive. Okay, come on, be a good opponent. Tap out for something. Actually, the only thing they really could tap out for is a Casualties, which would not be good. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, I see how it is. Yeah, so there's probably a Wrath coming. Nope. Yep. Could use a land. Could use a land. That's not a land. Like, okay. It's gonna be another counter spell. Oh. Wait, what? They don't have a counter spell in their deck. What are they doing? Sorry, just. Just don't worry. I am doing fine. And that's a lie. I don't know why I thought that this card was only memory once it's in the graveyard, but here we are, I guess. My opponent has another counterspell. I'm actually going to lose this game to Torrential Gearhulks, and not going to be in a good mood after that. Though, to be fair, I still have like a couple more turns because I can Chump Walk, right? Great. Creator Maker can answer a Torrential Gearhulk. I can, like, chump, sack, destroy, take 0. Like, it wouldn't leave a good taste in my mouth, but... Okay, I guess we're not Muxusing. Well, in that case, Chandra? Just one time, opponent. You don't have to counter every single spell I play. Like, it's not like you're contractually obligated. There is no one sitting behind you at the desk, like, with their feet up, just going, you better counter it, or else. It's not like some warlock with your soul in an unholy contract with a demon. You're Frank, not Liliana. Just don't do it. Stop. Get some help. Alright, buddy. You do you. Well, I'm taking up for mana, for sure. Casting a Crater Maker. Casting a Prospector. Wasting a mana. No, there's gonna be a starving kid in Africa that won't eat because I wasted my mana. It's fine. This is not an African children's stream. Don't know why. It's not a stream. Okay. I just... After this video, I'm just gonna, like, sleep 8 hours or something. Just gonna, you know. So how worried am I about disallow? And the answer is 0. This is, okay, so... Just don't... Oh my god, what am I even doing with my life? I really thought that was destroy target artifact and not destroy target non-land permanent. I really thought. I was just so sure of that. I don't even... Okay, well, this is not going well. This is, not, just not going well. You know, we all have our off days, and sometimes we have off days, and sometimes we have today, you know? I mean, the fact that I'm visibly agitated because I messed up one single game of Magic probably speaks to my priorities, but we're not here to discuss that. You're, after all, watching a video about me being emotionally invested in a game that, singular game that will not affect the course of my life, so. Actually, I don't know. I actually don't know what my point was. Just pretend that was meaningful or something. Just imagine you're an ELA teacher. Stop. Oh, and I've got to land on top. That's just going great. Can't you tell? I'm having so much fun. I just got 2 for 1 by this card, which, oh my god. So yeah. That's a good card. That is a good card. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. Unfortunately, it's not that great. When I have to waste an entire turn doing nothing, my opponent just let me go to my main phase, which is assuredly wrong. Because I could have just cast something. Oh wait, no, I guess they can also see it, right? Yeah, okay, so no, I'm actually just being dumb. But if there's a crank on top, that would have been pretty bad for them. So anyway, I'll just spend my whole turn dealing 1 extra damage to my opponent. How's your day going? Ah. Okay, that's very greedy. For a deck with 8 Lylans, my opponent sure is going all in. I mean, they probably have like fatal passages and a single or two or three basic islands, but still, like, you're not even playing Castle Lockthwaite and you're playing that garbage. That land, which was like a pinnacle of one of the most busted decks in recent memory, Team Iraq, which broke Standard and Historic and Pioneer, except it's still broken in Pioneer because WotC doesn't care about Pioneer. Yeah, I'll just get him with Chieftain because I'm not worried about Shark Typhoon. Just not worried. Just not worried. Opponent? Opponent is having a midlife crisis in between priority. Interesting. And yeah, my Herald's Horn gets countered. And then my opponent untaps. Upkeep surprise scries with Castle Vantress because that's just how things are done this way. These days. Not this way, these days. Whatever, you know what I mean. You probably don't. I don't know what I mean. Send help. Nah, I'm really suspecting Counterspell here. Though if my opponent does counter, they won't be able to activate Castle Vantress. I'm sure they're just like eyeing Castle Vantress longing, like, because that's just the sort of things that Soul type players do. Well, opponent, it's been 84 years. 2 very boring minutes later. Okay, there we go, finally. Now, if you wouldn't mind casting Memory, that would just be delightful. I wish I could just delay the tutoring, go to combat, and then tutor, but unfortunately, ooh, opponent did not have an answer. Okay, very nice. Diamond 2. 3 overall with Mono Red Goblins, and this deck feels really strong, as befitting to a tier 1 deck in Historic. It's very fun to play, at least for me, though, of course. I do know some players that are not very partial to its playstyle, but I highly recommend you check it out. It's one of the pillars of Historic, and that probably means that you've already checked it out or haven't for wildcard reasons. It's been around for 20 years, so you probably should have if you haven't already. And yeah, I think it's actually pretty hard to play with all the sequencing and tutoring with Goblin Matron. And I think it's actually like a pretty cool deck. Like all the people saying it's like brain dead and super easy to play and just cast Moxus. I don't think it's like that. I actually like the deck, and I'm doing pretty well with it. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. Don't think I have anything else to say, except that you should definitely like and subscribe, because it just helps me out, makes me happy, all that jazz. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.